Yep. Well, most of all, I should just go over some basic facts of the raging conspiracy. And it's a horribly satanic conspiracy, and where almost everyone, is just a full-fledged fraud, fake. Their identities are fake, what they stand for is fake, and all their personal information is fake. They've just totally taken the wrong course in fate, to say the least. So they aren't as old as they purport to be. And I mean, it would mean nothing in the bush, in the jungle. You know, some guy comes up to you in the jungle, he says he's 50. Doesn't mean anything. But they use their lies as elements of sin against others, against victims such as myself. And their bodily features are usually fake. They are usually determined by the injections that they get, or the pills that they take. So the sports heroes that are at the stadiums are all high, and they've all been medically treated, genetically modified, so that they are like a super beast. And one of the horrible back issues in the background is that their rules say the absolute opposite of what they do. So let's say for any kind of sports from 3rd grade up, they say that the kids can't use supplements, when those rules are really arbitrary, and the people who really determine the outcome of those supplements are the puppet master medical experts from the pharmaceuticals. And there are some serious victims. There are real victims. A real large percentage of the participants in the world are victims. And in this the sporting thing, anyone who doesn't have the drugs is at a deathly handicap. And we can go on to more and more topics of identity fraud, and there are so many that it would be really futile and stupid to try to name all of the instances in which the masses of morons violate people with identity fraud, because we can just breeze over the endless other things that they just do in their own homes, but they really violate everything and everyone with lots of sin over deception and fraud. And so in the school systems, most of the school children are total frauds, and on a regular basis, from kindergarten to post-grad, or whatever it is, college or high school or whatever, middle school, they pack the schools with totally grown individuals. So any number of schools that are actually operating, from third grade or whatever, if any third grade class in America could be filled with full-grown 14-year-olds who are frauding as third graders, but the full-grown 10, 12, 14-year-olds, they are elderly frauds if they are 14, because the top of the top elderly age of the world is about 14, and that's a much smaller age bracket than the 12-year-olds or anything from 12 down. But the third graders or the second graders or first graders are often the groups of child bearers for the next generation. They are the ones who have the babies, who make the babies. And it's not the fully grown individuals who grow to the status quo height of 5'9", or whatever, 5'10", or however it is in the metric system. It's all the same. The pharmaceuticals span the globe. They span the globe. So, no matter where you go, most of the grown individuals, 99% or more, will be a product of pharmaceutical genetic modifications. And then you can always go back to the background the background topics that the horrible hypocrites and liars hold all sorts of sacrilegious laws against the victims. So they have a worldwide population of fraud that never gets to be really over 13 or 14. And those are really, 13 or 14 is really an elderly character. But they have a worldwide population of fraud as a huge power struggle, and they hold the rest of the population, the healthy people, and even themselves, they hold everyone against age laws, intelligence, credential laws, ability laws, marriage laws, like all sorts of laws, genealogy laws, who was your mom, who was your dad, stuff like that, in reality it's just like playing cards for the fucking pharmaceutical bastards. Or whoever. I mean, the town hall, the person at the town hall plays with personal records like they're playing poker or something. It's just like ID cards are like little baseball trading cards to these people. So, well, I don't want to go on and on in each post. I have more things to do than just this. Another element that is highly instrumental in their process of sinful harm, of the fraud's process of sinful harm, is that they create a false sense of themselves so that they can feel as if they aren't who they are. So if they have some kind of fraud alias, maybe the fraud alias is a musician or a teacher or something, they will totally create a false sense of themselves as the teacher or musician, who doesn't actually know all the things that they say they know, but with the false sense of themselves, the false sense of themselves will support their actions of sin against others. So if they are a teacher at a school, then they will feel like it's justified to hold authority and make judgments on others when in fact they aren't mature at all, and their level of false self-perception is very deep, and it's a communal thing. Or if there's some kind of fraud musician for something that popped up in the media, and they took responsibility for whatever music they found in the media, then they acquire a huge false sense of perception, and beyond that, the pharmaceutical groups that some call Big Brother, or well, really the pharmaceutical groups and their intelligence connections have a system of creating the frauds from the media images and in the media characters, and there are homes all over the world that are just dedicated to getting the kids in there that are getting genetically modified to get out there and really believe that they are something that they are not. And so their false sense of perception leads them to do all sorts of really wrong actions, to really take sin into themselves, to ingrain sinful actions into themselves, and they often go through a process of verily and vehemently denying reality and truth while acquiring the false sense of perception that they need to become the fraud that the pharmaceutical groups need them to be. They need people to feel, they need the genetically modified 10-year-olds to feel that they are something that they are not. And so they all deny the truth, they deny morals, they deny God, and they accept sin, and they accept Satan by developing the false sense of themselves that will enable them to be their wretched character that they will be, or the wretched characters that they will be while they are full-grown frauds. So, with all the items that can hold power over anyone else, Babylon will pervert that item and use it as a tool of sin, an element, mechanism of sin against anyone, themselves, and especially victims. So you can take money, for example, and at the top of the Babylon pyramid, there is no money. They just use money as a tool for their own sin. It's like how do the 12-year-old frauds go around, drive around the world in expensive cars when their daddy and themselves did absolutely nothing, did shit except torture and sin, and they drive around with unlimited money, being perverts, and the money is used. The money is used as a mechanism of sin, and that's the only reason they have money. And they would do anything worse. The issue is that their morals are so awful that they would do anything worse with the system that they could at any point to accomplish sin. So they would discard money totally for extreme slavery, but they just can't get it done because they are too stupid. And they don't care about anything. They don't have any idea of anything. Yeah, this shit is absolutely ridiculous. The stalkers who obsess with the whore aliases that litter and torture me, whore aliases from my past, they want me to reflect back on some of the whore aliases and imagine to myself how cool they were, as if that shit means anything. They were just some dirty sinners. So when you're talking about the police, legality is not of the essence. But us victims actually have to observe the laws. And as a background note, if an individual can't observe the laws, such as any police officer who is illegal beyond the point of no return, if they can't observe the laws, they are going to hell. So if you're not going to hell, you will observe the laws. But the police can what the police can do is they can just turn on their lights and pull anyone over and pull up some false charges, whatever the fuck they want, get that guy in jail. And it happens. And another thing that the police group does, along with the pharmaceuticals, is that they hold very precise and in-depth databases of information on all of their victims, to just about almost every daily interaction that one of their victims has. The Big Brother groups will have information on it. So most of the victims go through schooling. So they have endless information, very precise information on the victim. And one of the tactics of these people is that the psycho Big Brother types, pharmaceuticals, police-associated people, is that they eliminate any two victims from each other, so that the victims will not have any interaction with any person that is not totally connected to the Big Brother movement and the police and the pharmaceutical overwatch. And so they will keep this information in a hidden spot, and they know about all the friends of the victims of whoever they want, because they live fake lives, and then anyone who does not live a totally fake life is a victim of them. So their morals, their notion of morals are only used for sin and immorality. That is their chief notion of morals. And no one can get around it. The only thing that people do is that they live in the hands of God, in the face of the evils such as status quo psychos. And if anyone gets an idea about the realities of their social terrorism, their social psychotic behavior, their endless deception, they will start attacking the person who has ideas about the reality of the rotten and wicked people in their lives. Another one of the gutter tactics that Babylon has is that in the category of fake movements, and within the frauds, making a front of a fake fake ideals and standing for things in a fake way, is that the frauds pretend to contemplate what kind of wrongs that the community is committing against defenseless people. So the biggest issue is that the frauds have running discourse on the wrongs of the police against community members. And this is around the world. So they have all sorts of rhetoric and propaganda about problems that are posed by the police and other authorities, unjust problems with reasoning behind it, and it's all fake. So they have tons of fake people purposefully instilling fake reasoning about the problems that they have to face. And this is a tactic to prevent any person from developing any type of case or coherent complaint against the authority, against the police, against Big Brother, against psychiatrists or whatever. No, psychiatrists are the worst, because whenever someone starts getting ideas about the reality of the frauds out there, psychiatrists will be there to slander and socially kill anyone with any ideas. That's just what they do. The psychiatrists go on hunts. They hunt against people who have reasonable ideas. They're just one of the tools of the pharmaceutical oppression. And so there are all sorts of extreme charlatans who are just personages who are frauds, and they charlatan some type of idea. They charlatanize ideas and social positions. So they'll have people who express conspiracy theories, but the frauds are really just doing that. They are really just expressing the conspiracy theory to distract and lead astray some victims. And it happens all the time. It's like how police groups set up drug dealers in the area who don't get in trouble, but the drug dealer is just a big narc, and he'll give out real drugs, but he'll just narc on he's just a police informant, and then eventually they might bust the guy or the people, the drug dealers, and in reality, at that point, the drug dealer alias has been used by many different bodies, and they just put up some moron to get busted, and they send him to jail, and eventually they kill the guy. The big conspiracy about jails is really a very important conspiracy to have at least a vague idea about, because jails are really not at all what they are advertised to be. The people in there are not what they advertise to be. It's just it's a never-ending scam. That's what they run. That's what the public is. The public is a never-ending scam. So Babylon, meaning the frauds, the genetically modified individuals, they're all at some kind of vainglory war. Their vainglory shadows all of their other sins. It's the leading force Because, for instance, they use all of their credentials as items of vainglory, and they use it to oppress others for their own sinful vainglory, like the schoolings or the job appointments that doofuses can get. Like a doofus can get a PhD from any university system around the world. Of course, the doofus would have to be in check with the pharmaceutical puppeteers, the puppet masters of the pharmaceuticals, and so they can get any PhD, and they appoint all sorts of doofuses and buffoons to high-profile positions, and they put all sorts of numbskulls in places that are superior to others. So they'll give numbskulls huge bank accounts with huge houses in the name of vainglory. And they don't care about other things, they just care about their own communal vainglory. And all of those items of social status are items of vainglory for Babylon. And ideally, hypothetically, in the large media dream that we all live in, those items of social status, social rank, they would all be appropriate if crazy sinners did not have control. And beyond that, if the sinners didn't have control, no one would even give a fuck about those things. It wouldn't mean much. It wouldn't mean anything. But they need it to mean more than it does, while they use it as a sin of vainglory. They can't even train the morons like cops, because they don't even live that long. They are never even of full age. They aren't even 18 years old. They're just some kind of hormone steroids case. They don't have training. They just use it for the sin of vainglory. It's their leading light. As Satan was the carrier of the light before this world, Satan moved light from place to place. A really trivial thing, really real moron. And they follow the light of vainglory. And they use the carrier of the light as symbolism within their mind games of communication. So they even their thoughts are most often their mental audio hearing, what they hear in their mind from their own brains. It's more like light shimmers, they use mental light disturbances in their brain to simulate mental noises. And as always, their immorality is so debunk that their level of immorality is endless, and they would act in as much more harm as they could. It's just that fate and God prevent that. That's their only barrier of harm is God. They are wrapped up in extreme sin. And that's probably 90% or more of the worldwide human population. And they often are convinced of the opposite. But the number grows every day, and that's the path to Armageddon, and they've totally lost control. They aren't actually in the hands of God. It's that they are stopped by inevitable fate. Just it's absurd. So the frauds use elements of the media as weapons, and things like the music and intellectual property, the news. On the whole, it doesn't come from humans. It's just part of nature. It just comes on its own. It's just part of the circle of life. It's part of God. And then eventually they get a fraud to represent someone or something of media that was not created by them, and that's not a big deal. It's just some kind of act at that point, but they'll use it as a weapon, and that is extremely harmful. And with their levels of immorality, it becomes deathly, because the fraud, like maybe a fraud musician, becomes extremely dangerous towards anyone who poses a threat to his fraud, to his life of fraud, and they become extremely dangerous. So, there could be some kind of guy down the street of anybody who takes responsibility for some kind of writing, like a book, or they are some kind of news reporter. But in reality, they aren't. On the whole. And the frauds use it in sin against others, and it can be very harmful, and it can get a lot of momentum in the fraud communities. They are already charged at full speed on drugs. They are all raged in a daze of sinful deceit. They agree in their minds with sins, and then they act in harm over the media that they don't own at all, but they don't understand it because they are too dumb. And it's obvious because they live a life of fraud. They are so dumb. Their fraud identity is so dumb that it can't be refuted about how dumb they are. So they always have a threat with the media fraud against everyone else, anyone. And this goes in like a power pyramid to the top of the media fraud threat pyramid. It's like maybe a cone or something, but it goes up to a point, and at the top they'll pull the strings in a heat of sin to act in harm upon others. And they are so insensical and sinful that the only thing they know about it is a lie about some kind of personal quirk. Like if someone would confront them about it, about the harm that they would use over some kind of element of their fraud against an innocent victim, they would sinfully and harmfully act against the other person over their pile of lies behind them. And it's a never-ending cycle for them. They always go to the end. They always go to death and Armageddon, because they are holding on to the end of everything with their sin, and they have nothing left, and they are facing nothing, and all they know is spite and wretchedness. Look at we now, hot, you hotter than fire, hot, hotter, hot, hot. Look at you now, you hotter than fire. Look at we now, we hotter than fire, hotter than fire. Walk in the club, roaming it up, looking in around, see no face, no clown. Nothing I wanna move, and bring it to the floor, and you go your own way. Take it to the top, flames are rising out the spot, the fog is billowing, smoke like a hiss. Been there for many days, so look at we now. We hotter than fire, hotter than fire. And look at you now, you hotter than fire, hotter than fire. And you know, no, we don't wanna play no fool. Wanna play no fool. We took your classes, but your school is just a fool, just a fool. And look at you now, you're burning up. It is too hot. And look at we now, we're blazing fire like a star. Look at you now, you hotter than fire, hotter than fire. Look at we now, we hotter than fire, hotter than fire. Can I burn the club? Gonna play my rubber dub. Take it to the club. Get a dance floor, rubbing up. Whenever we're walking in, no one comes out with a grin. You sad clown. Too much time in the town. Look at you now. You hot, you burning up like a fire. Burning up like a fire. Look at we now. Look at we now. We hotter than fire. Burning up. So, because the evildoers of Babylon know that they have laws set up to prevent their own antics, and that they live outside the law, and they make their victims live inside the law, and the fact that they can do whatever they want outside the law under the protection of the police, that makes them do more evil, more complicated, more grand, more immense evil, because they live outside the law, and it gives them a perversion, a perverted pleasure to violate and pervert the laws that they force their victims to live within. And the fact that they are outside the laws, under the disguise that they do live within the laws, makes them feel like they should even violate the laws more. They feel even more justified to violate the laws, seeing as they've already violated them. This shit doesn't stop. Their immorality is never ending. The only stop to their immorality is not within themselves. It's within the fate of existence and God. It's that it's like they take their entire soul from here to Judgment Day and see how much extra energy they have that they can borrow from the future and bring it back here so that they can do evil, because their immorality is endless. They would always do worse things. They are just incapable because of God and the facts of fate. So I've decided to start a conspiracy theory blog, which isn't going to go very far. And it's just kind of an interest because of the things that I have to do, and it was definitely spurred on by police harassment. And if you go through police harassment and other things like the threat of police intervention used as a satanic, arbitrary threat. So a satanic threat of police arrest. That is definitely the driving factor. It's the catalyst, the beginning point. It's not the biggest issue, but so I'll just go over things like the raging fraud that is killing the human race through Satan worship. So that's probably the biggest theme. So I'm stuck in my own house. I am a torture victim, horrible torture victim of the Satan worshippers that call themselves my mother or other members of the family or any member of the community where I live, Monadnock community or anywhere else. They're all, it's a big gypsy life. So they come through any area, and they spend a little time here. They are a temporary local, a gypsy local, and they use a whore alias. They just use an alias over and over again, such as the alias that the torturers that are my mother. That's just a whore alias, because it's used by many different people, and it happens all over the planet. And I'll refrain to many topics, such as the fact that the fraud reaches out to all aspects of identity fraud, and how the so-called adult population is not adult, and they are a product of pharmaceutical drug treatment. They are pumped with hormones, and they are pumped with drugs. They are almost always high. The puppet masters and their cronies don't want any people who aren't high to be out in public, who can't really handle themselves, and who won't be distracted. And this whole thing, every antic that they use, everything they do, it's not only satanic, but their power struggle is leading them to Armageddon. So they have shown the path to the end of the human race. And now I can hear that my evil torturer mom is coming around the corner to hear what I'm doing, stalking me, torturing me as always. So turn it off now. When you play that way now, you ain't gonna get nowhere. When you play that way now, when you play that way, you ain't getting nowhere, no way, no more. Wickedness has come to an end. All the problems, Jah will lift like a friend, and the wicked live. Oh, I see. Wicked man go away, and the wicked man go away to stay. One time, coming up like a bomb, and then one time, and they be gone. When the wicked man go now, and the wicked man leave, we don't see no judgment, no, judgment like a breeze. Ain't no nothing about me now. We don't see no problem. It's not pleasant feeling, my Lord, judgment, no one. Ain't nothing wrong, just the day is long, and you see that wicked man, he going on. Okay, so the ages of the people in authority and almost everyone across the board who is a status quo, full-grown individual, probably from about 5 feet to 6'5". They are mostly much younger than anything that they would ever say, and their entire population, which is about 99% of the humans on the planet, their entire population never grows over 14 years old. Only those very few would ever grow to be over 14 years old. And they just live lives of lies in sin. And they are heading towards the inferno on a rocket ship of lies. And they are harming anything in their way. Just the carelessness of who they are and what they stand for is proof of their evil. And they feel it's all right to have authority figures who are not mature, who do not have reasoning power, such as the police, to go out and patrol the streets. As I say, they enforce the crime, because as the police are always higher than the rest of the population, and one of the reasons that they are higher is because it gives them an enormous amount of persuasion and power in any interpersonal situation, because they have more, their brain is firing at a faster rate, and they also hold threats over anyone and everyone in any community. And that's kind of an industry standard for the police, is to set up community threats, violent threats, and it's to infuse the power into themselves, because the future threat upon the community will instinctually make the community fear the cops and do exactly what the cops say and abide to the satanic police forces around the world. And what is the police forces are so evil. They are worse than the Nazis. Each jail is as bad as a Nazi incarceration camp. And the jails are slaughterhouses. And half of the population is totally unaware. And the other half of the population, they are just part of the police oppression and tyranny. They all have police ties. They all have a police daughter. For the police to lace up in police uniform and to go out and to be a policeman, they take about a handful of drugs to do that, because they have been taking extreme drugs, opiates, all sorts of drugs, acid, any kind of drug, acid, opiates, MDMA, whatever. They do it all. They are the biggest drug addicts, but they have to take a handful of drugs. They've been taking drugs since they were a little baby, and they've been taking drugs until they were a police officer, when they had to be higher than the rest of the other people. And so the police are so evil that they have torture camps in the jails, and the jails are just breeding grounds for corruption, crime, gang oppression. They are used as extreme elements of extreme deception, and half of the inmates are always just part of the police gang, either spending time in the jails and waiting to get out to commit more police crimes for the police gang, or just in the jails and trying to in the jails waiting to die, and kind of keeping tabs on all the inmates that are not actually in the police gang. So the police have huge slaughterhouses as jails, and they just usher people over there, or they'll just have a slaughterhouse somewhere in town, but the jail is just kind of a dead end, and it's a big crime, and they use all the elements of deception against everyone. They prevent a pursuit of happiness, liberty, freedom, or any of the natural rights. The police are known and to use human rights as elements of sin against humans for the sinful benefit of the police and everything that is connected to the police. They are, lots of groups call them common thugs, or just the top thugs, which they are, and they are the most horrible gang that has walked the planet. But it's not only martial law. It's just that they are satanized. They are firing. They are raging Satanists. They drive around enforcing crime. They are raging with fraud. Each police officer is a raging evil fraud, and they have extremely demented minds that pick on victims, and so they have all sorts of victims, and they have their group of criminals that they keep safe in their own crimes, but they pick on victims. So one of the largest pastimes and one of the most time-consuming activities of the police is to just pick on innocent victims, because they do know on a large scale about the real criminals. The police and the pharmaceuticals are hand in hand. And so wherever anyone gets their genetic modification drugs from, they'll answer to that. And so they have to answer to the person who gives them the drugs. And so the police really are second in line to the person who gives out the genetic modification drugs. And so they just their entire community acts outside the law on the basis of their community, and they are so wicked that they can't get back in the law ever, no matter what. And so they are, everything is it's a pretty tight ship over there. And so they end up bullying, harassing, torturing the victims who aren't genetically modified. The real humans. The police are actually the tool that exterminated the humans from the face of the planet. They are the mutant tool, the group of the actual doers of the deed. We can go on more about that later. I have some other things to do. When you born me, when you born me, yeah. When you born me, and the moon, born no morning, when you born no morning, don't born it when you're born it me, born it when you born it no morning, oh born it me, born it Bonnie noni noni doni don ori no soni mono no oni no pati noni poni noni mi pani noni koni no Money, honey, corny, no,